My dears, this is just to recapitulate some of the anatomic points that we need to remember about the liver and the biliary system, the hepato-biliary system. You have the GI tract here, the stomach, the duodenum, and these two, unlike other body organs, are not directly drained into the venous system and to the heart. The drainage from the GI tract goes via a special circulation called the portal circulation, which enters the liver, and from the liver through the hepatic veins the blood enters the inferior vena cava and then passes on into the right atrium. This is because the liver wants to act as a check post for whatever that is being absorbed by the stomach and the duodenum. So, the blood that is carried from the upper GI tract is subjected to strict scrutiny in the liver, and then only it is allowed to enter the hepatic vein and thence into the systemic circulation. So, it is the portal circulation that is very important for filtration of all the waste products, for elimination of all the unwanted toxic materials, for the metabolism of all the drugs that we ingest. So, liver acts as the first pass metabolism for all these things, and in other words, it is the major check post. Remember, our liver has 400 different functions related to protein production, coagulation factor production, metabolism of drugs, filtration of toxins, elimination of waste materials, and then secretion of bile salts for the intestinal absorption of fat and secretion of bile. These are all the various functional aspects of liver. We can see here the liver, the right lobe, the left lobe, and of course you see the right hepatic duct and the left hepatic duct, and the gallbladder here, the cystic duct carrying the bile from the gallbladder that joins the hepatic duct to form the common bile duct, and into the common bile duct the pancreatic duct also opens. So, this is the hepato-biliary excretory pathway. The first what we have described is the portal circulation, and the second one is the output from the liver into the GI tract. Our liver contains several different cell types, each one designated with a separate function. The hepatocytes, also known as the parenchymal cells of the liver, the PC, they are the ones which act on the manufacturing factory for all the things that are produced from the liver, like the vitamins, the proteins, the clotting factors, the immunoglobulins, name anything. All those functions are carried out by the hepatocyte, and the excretory functions of the liver are also carried out by the hepatocytes. Then we have what are called the Kupffer cells. Kupffer cells are nothing but macrophages. Liver has an enormous supply of macrophages, and these are specialized macrophages called the Kupffer cells or Kc. Their function is detoxification, scavenging, and elimination of all the waste materials, the metabolized drugs, the metabolites of our body. All these things are taken away by the Kupffer cells. So, Kupffer cells have got an enormous role in making us pure and making our system pure, our blood pure. The stellate cells called the SC, these are the supporting structures of the liver. Against this background of the framework of stellate cells, the Kupffer cells and hepatocytes take shape and act. The endothelial cells of the liver also known as the liver endothelial cells LEC. These are very important for the secretory functions of the liver and for the vascular integrity of our system. Of course, there are other numerous types of cells in the liver, like the cells of the blood vessels, cells of the nerves, and then the bile duct cells, the lining of the bile duct mucous membrane, the fibroblasts, and the inflammatory cells. If you look on the left hand side, you see about the cells, but here we have on the right hand side a diagram which shows about a hepatic lobule. This is a hexagonal lobule like thing, and we have got a hepatic vein in the center. This hepatic vein carries the blood into the inferior vena cava after it traverses through the liver cells and is detoxified and purified. This one, the blue one here, is the portal vein which brings in the blood from the GI tract into the liver for scrutiny and for the first pass metabolism. The portal blood enters the hepatic sinusoids, and then finally, after the hepatocytes and the hepatic lobules have understood whether this blood should go and what sorts of modifications and detoxifications and purifications are needed, and once the check post is cleared, that blood enters the hepatic vein and further traverses into the right heart through the inferior vena cava. And now we have got the bile duct here on the left hand side of the portal vein, and you see the lining of the hepatic endothelium here which secretes the bile, the biliary canaliculi, they all join, they empty into the bile duct, and this bile duct excretes the liver contents into the GI tract via the hepatic ducts, of course with the cystic duct, and then the common bile duct joins the pancreatic duct, and then finally empties into the duodenum at the ampulla of Vater. Bile, remember, has got two functions: the function of intestinal enzymes and the excretory function of the liver are carried out by the bile. And now on the right hand side of the portal vein, we have got the hepatic artery. A branch of the hepatic artery comes here into each lobule, and this is the one which nurtures the liver cells. The various liver cells which we have listed here, they require oxygen, they require nutrients, they require to be nurtured. For that, the blood is brought in through the hepatic artery, and that blood also gets emptied into the sinusoids for onward drainage into the hepatic vein, which goes into the inferior vena cava and thence into the right heart. So, this is a nutshell about the circulatory arrangement and the excretory arrangement in the liver. The intricate circulatory and excretory function of the liver can be schematically viewed in this diagram. You see the hexagonal liver lobules. Each lobule has got a central hepatic vein, and on the 6 corners you have got the 3 structures there. The blue one is the portal vein, which we have seen in the previous slide, and the green one is the bile duct or the biliary canaliculus, and the red one is the hepatic artery. This is called the hepatic triad. The hepatic triad comprises of the portal vein, the biliary canaliculus, and a branch of the hepatic artery. As I have told you in the previous slide, blood from the portal vein traverses the sinusoids of the hepatic lobule and finally gets into the hepatic vein. The hepatic artery supplies the nutrients and the oxygenated blood to the liver cells, which empties into the hepatic sinusoids, finally draining the blood back into the circulation through the central hepatic vein. And now, of course, we have got the biliary canaliculus, wherein the liver secretions that are secreted by the hepatocytes are then channeled through the biliary canaliculi into the branch of the biliary duct and finally into the intestines. So, this is how the classical hepatic circulatory and excretory structure is represented in this particular slide.